Blessed full moon in Gemini, beautiful souls. Our last full moon in 2021. And it's been one hell of a year, huh? It's been one hell of a ride. Every time I think I've gotten to the final end of my dark night of the soul, Spirit's like, oh, no, 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 no. You need to go over here for a little while. It's like, okay. So, yeah. So, if you're feeling it, if you're feeling like no matter what you do, you're running into obstacles, you're not alone. However, for some of you, maybe life is going really good because you're finally rolling with the flow. My life is both right now. It's a little bit of a merry-go-round, because I live with multiple people. And when you live with multiple people, it can really change the energy field of where you live. So Spirit just wanted us to keep that in mind and to try and stay in our center as much as possible. I've tried to do this reading a few times and, there's slamming of doors, there's things going on, and I'm just like, and finally Spirit said, push through, just push through. So that is what they want us to do, is push through. And I've been getting this download recently from a lot of readers and just the energy from Spirit, it just really aligns. And that is when we are tasked to do something that feels like drudgery, they want us to try really hard to flip that around and think of it in a positive way. You know that old saying, instead of saying, I have to do this, we say, I get to do this. And remember that we are on a path here as humans. Even, if you found yourself here, you're most likely a really powerful light worker. Even so, my throat chakra is it wasn't like that all day, right? It's time to speak up and speak your truth. We are in a different dimension, a different time. Things are different. Things are just different. And trying to do the old ways we are finding in these new pathways it's just not working. So with that being said, when I asked for a theme for this, because my beloved is a triple Gemini with his sun in Sag, and I'm a triple Sag with my moon in Scorpio. This full moon in Gemini is, really doing a number on our energy field as well. So if you're someone who is surrounded by that, they wanted me to point that out. But also, there was one more message for the collective. There was this song that I was listening to, and it was called Touching Silk. And it was a beautiful, beautiful Asian piece, just gorgeous. And I understood what Spirit was trying to say to me afterwards, because bit by bit, I was getting little, breadcrumbs from the music. And they understand the chaos on the planet, but they want us to seriously find moments in the chaos to find the glory and the happiness too. The other day I had a situation, they want me to share this with you really quick and then we'll jump to your reading. I had a situation where I was going to get some salad dressing, and I just automatically always put my hand over the top of lids because you just never know. Again, dealing with multiple people in a house, you just don't know. So long story short, I went to shake it and I had my hand over it, but it was so full that it literally popped open. I obviously wasn't holding it tight enough, and salad dressing went everywhere. All over my freshly clean, hoodie, my favorite hoodie, and all over the floor. And for somebody who I live in a tiny home, I don't have a washer and dryer, I have to go to the laundromat. And I realized I didn't handle it very well, let's just put it that way. And afterwards, I said, I feel like I used to be the person that was like, oh my gosh, that's so funny. Look what I just did. Ha 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 ha. Oh, that sucks, and you kind of laugh about it. But instead I was like, what the fuck? Why did this happen to me? I didn't even want this salad dressing. You wanted the salad. And then I just turned into this, I was like, who am I? So Spirit wants us to get real right now about who we are, old programming, and not falling into those traps. So when I asked for a theme for this, it was more just like a messages from spirit. And we are using the Moonology deck. And spirit wants to remind us that we move in cycles. And the full moon is all about celebration, like you made it, right? The now we've got to the pivotal point where it's shining brightly so you can see everything. You know, there's no more hiding, there's no more, right? We just everything's illuminated by the full moon. But also the twins of Gemini, there's a reason for that, right? So like even in this imagery, right, it's like you've got half, it's like half light, half dark. That's what we're made of. And the moon cycles remind us to stay balanced. Our angel number today is 515, which is also the number 11. So if that resonates with you, go look up angel number 515 and 11 if you are so inclined. Also, like I've said before, I don't have fancy software. Sometimes spirit breaks this up into one. I have, it doesn't matter. I've tried to like, it doesn't matter. So sometimes they break it up and I'm not sure why, but what I'm doing now is I'll put the link for the other video inside the piles. I've been going through, if you've noticed, I've been cleaning up my channel. For those of you who, thank you to the new subscribers and thank you to the old subscribers, but those of you who've been here around here for a while, you know, my channel used to be different. I'm changing a lot of things. I'm probably going to bring this up a few more times until, you know, everybody hears it. And I'm also being pulled to do one more, like, kind of like real talk to leave on here for people, like returning people kind of thing. Just to let them know that everything's going to be moving to my Patreon, except for the pick-up piles. They're going to stay here for free. And then my Patreon channel is just going to be $13 a month. That's it. And there's ways to contribute. And thank you, thank you, thank you. And also, I want to give a little shout out to one of our tribe members, Anna. Thank you so much, Anna. Anna gifted me with this beautiful, I have wanted this tarot deck since it came out. I am a huge fan of The Nightmare Before Christmas, so expect to see some pick-up piles and readings on the Patreon channel coming up for that. All my information is below. So without further ado, let's get to your messages. Okay, you guys? These are beautiful rocks that I picked up from the Pacific Northwest, except for this last one. That one I actually bought in a store. Okay, so we have pile number 1, pile number 2, pile number 3, and pile number 4. And they did want me to say that, yes, this is graphite. For some of you, if you were wondering, it is graphite. The other 3 are rocks from the Pacific Northwest that I've picked up along the beaches and the mountains. So there we go. So I'll see you at your pile. I love you so much. Thank you for being here. And hold on, we're almost out of here. It's going to get better. I promise you. Blessed be. Aho. Bye. See you at your pile. Welcome, pile number 1. Okay, I just have to tell you, you've been having like, shit's been like, I don't know if it's going to happen now, but just before I started, like 2 different things have been flying in front of the screen. I can't see anything in front of me yet. It's like showing up. So we'll see if they come in. But either way, I'm feeling a really strong grandmother energy. So for some of you, ooh, I just got the chills all over my body. As most of you know, I am a psychic medium. But I'm also a telepath, and so I can feel, I'm an empath. I feel, hear, and see multiple things all the time. It's just different. It's hard to even explain it, but anyway, this energy that I'm feeling is so grandmother that it's, you know, I'm just, yeah. Did you see that? See what I mean? Like things have been, but I can't see anything. So yeah, your grandma's here. Grandma, I felt like I heard Oscar, but then it kind of felt like Oscar the Grouch. I heard Eve. So I don't know if that means anything to anybody. And like they just scratched my head. Like it was almost like so maybe they were someone who scratched their head, or like, I'm kind of like playing with my hair right now. I don't know if you can hear me, but I just feel like it's somebody, or maybe they were fidgety. It's interesting, or maybe you are. Maybe they're trying to show me like this is how you are. But either way, the energy just shifted dramatically from where I was to right now. So this is your card. This was, if you chose pile number 1, this is your card. And it says, it is time to release negativity. It's time to release negativity. Full moon in Scorpio. Full moon in Scorpio. Time to release negativity. So I'm going to put your rock back. When I looked down, it was 909. I'm also hearing, you know, 9s are all about you're almost there, like you're almost done. And I get it. I mean, I've been there myself, right? You feel like you're just at the end of your rope. But I'm hearing for some of you, you're at the end of your rope, but I'm hearing for some of you like it's almost the end of something and you know it. And so they're like, just hang on. They're saying if you have to, did you ever hear that term, tie a knot and hang on, right? Like when you get to the end of your rope, you tie a knot and you hang on. That's kind of what I'm getting from spirit. They're just like, hang on, hang on. I wasn't sure if we were going to pull any other cards from the deck. So let me see. Oh, okay. I guess we are. I almost wasn't sure. I mean, obviously, by the time you see this, I'll have known what we're doing. But it felt like some piles were a pick a card and some were a pick a pile. But you guys definitely, I felt like we needed more cards. So look at this. Nothing is yet set in stone. A mutable moon. And look at that picture. See how the waves ebb and flow. If we've learned anything, and I apologize, my beloved is fixing a car at our house, and so I apologize for the noises. Anyway, but it's interesting because I started to do this reading the other day, and this was pile one. And it's interesting because I don't remember if that was the card, but I know I know for sure that this was one of the cards. Like I know for sure that it was one of the cards that was like the thing, because when it was done, I was like, well, I'm just going to throw them back in. If it's meant to be, it's meant to be. So anyway, but in one of those piles, they talked about car stuff. And since it's coming on right now while I'm talking to you, I'm going to say it again. I just heard, these are messages from your spirit guides, your ancestors, maybe this grandmother, but I just heard, don't get stalled again. And I heard the other day, I envisioned somebody getting like stuck in the snow. I'm hearing this is not the time to take risks right now or this winter. Like I'm hearing like, it's better to, play it safe in some areas. I'm also hearing I'm hearing like this kind of grandmother energy that's saying, if you only have $15 and you want that $5 latte, you need to like not get that latte that day and put the whole 15 in your tank. And she's saying, you'll thank me later. Okay. And that's just an analogy. It may not be that exact situation, but if you find yourself in a situation like this, and it's not that the money won't come, it's just, I'm getting this, like in that situation, it's like, just get the gas. Okay. Or if your check engine light's been coming on or whatever, go get that oil change, like whatever. There's something with cars because it came up before and I felt like this real like pressure to say it. And now the fact that this just happened with the car here, because he's working actually a little further away from the house. That was our car. So he must have like went to move it closer to the car he's working on for more tools or something. But you know what I'm saying? So there's something to that for somebody anyway. Okay. So also, we were talking, you could be a Scorpio. It's interesting because I just said that in the beginning of this that my moon is in Scorpio. So this is probably my pile. Anyway, nothing is yet set in stone. Oh, listen to that wind and my wind chimes right now. There's a huge storm going. There's a storm a brewing. I live in the Pacific Northwest, and yeah, we are like, I have no power right now, that's why I apologize for the bright light, because I wanted to do this kind of moody full moon in Gemini. I love Geminis. I'm married to one. I'm married to a triple Gemini, so I know all about the twins of Gemini, right? So I wanted to do this kind of like cool moody pile, but it was like almost like no, like the light of the moon wanted to illuminate onto this topic, onto this subject, and let everybody know, like, this is time for us to get real about shit. Nothing is yet set in stone. Maybe I'm getting a vibe from spirit that like maybe for some of you there was something you had hoped that would happen before the end of the year and it hasn't happened yet. Maybe there's something that you had your eye on and you weren't sure if you were going to have the finances for it. And they're saying, I want to just bring this down a little bit. Okay, there we go. I was like, it's just too bright. I don't have my glasses on. I should probably put my glasses on because to me it looks blurry, but sometimes things look, okay, it's not too bad. Anyway, you hear what they're saying? Like, nothing is yet set in stone. And it's a very human thing to put a timetable on things. Now listen, Spirit understands that with the change of the seasons, we sometimes have to put timetables on things, right? Like, if you're living in a house that isn't insulated very well, in the summer, it's like you need to keep it cool, so you need it insulated, and in the winter you need to keep it insulated to keep the heat in. But in the spring and the fall, it's kind of nice to have that fresh air in the house, right? It's like that kind of thing. I'm just giving that analogy. They just gave me that analogy. So Yeah, you have to plan for certain things because the energy is going to change, the weather's going to change, like things like that. Like, okay, but everything else, exactly, the energy is going to change, the weather's going to change. So, I get the feeling you guys like to control things. And if this is my pile too, my pile as well, I say, then, it could be that's, what it is. Because the negativity is coming from trying to control. Thank you, Spirit. Exactly. And they're saying, they're so funny. It doesn't matter. They're saying they're so funny. Sometimes they like say certain things to me, and I just like crack up because I just have really, really funny spirit guides. And then I need it, right? I need the sense of humor so bad when I'm having my Veruca moments and I'm like totally melting down and like, freaking out and like, why isn't this happening? And why is this happening to me? And they're like, it's happening for you. And they're saying also, don't forget that spirit's rejection is your protection. Again, it's your muggle mind. It's an old energy system, an old energy that is telling you that you need this or you need that. You don't need anything except for the essentials, which is exactly what they're saying about the house, right? Like living somewhere that's warm, a roof over your head, food in your belly, that kind of stuff. But everything else, it's window dressing is what they're saying. So be mutable. If you've ever looked at the sea, whether you've been there, saw movies, TV shows, whatever, the sea, the wonderful thing about the sea is that it could be so calm like glass when you're like, wow, look at how calm the water is, right? Or it could be tumultuous like this. Like you can hear my wind chimes going because we're having a huge windstorm. A windstorm so powerful that it like literally cut like all of our power down. So, think of like right now, people who have electric heat in their house. That sucks. I feel blessed right now that even though I live in my little tiny home and it is cold in here, we only use one small electric heater. The rest of it we use a propane heater. And thank goddess that we have, propane. So it's about looking at the little things and being grateful for the little things. That's how we release the negativity. It's just being so grateful for what we do have, not what we used to have, not what we want to have, but what we have in this moment, because it's in the gratitude that everything comes together. And look at this, step out of your comfort zone. Yeah, this is hard for you guys, right? This is hard for this pile. You got to step out of your comfort zone. I understand this. Stepping out of your comfort zone is hard. Also, I want you to do me a favor. I asked Spirit if we were going to read from the book today for things specifically like this. And they said no, because it's your homework. It's time to take responsibility for your spirit, right? And for your own education. I'm just here to give you the breadcrumbs. I'm just the messenger. That's it, right? This isn't a personal reading. This is a mass reading. If you want a personal reading, my information is below. But, this is, it's time to step out of your comfort zone. And once you do, they're saying it's going to be so much easier to release the negativity, because the only reason why you're feeling so much negativity is because you're still trying to live, with one foot in this life, one foot in this life. Also, I'm hearing it's time to take the masks off. Stop being, somebody else. Stop being something else or somebody else for other people. And, whenever you watch this, it's timeless. But in real time, especially in the United States, I know a lot of people celebrate Christmas and all throughout the world, but you know what I mean? It's like there's different holidays going on right now, Hanukkah, Yule, Kwanzaa, I think is in January this year, but it's like, but it's like right now, December 18th, 2021, it's like we're getting ready for Christmas and the holidays, and people are like, going to family parties and all that. Back out. Don't make yourself sick. Just tell your family you're not feeling well and you don't want to come. Because of what's happening with the virus, people are looking at it as like it's the worst thing in the world, but it's also been a great gift for people like us to separate ourselves from other people that are not in alignment with where we are right now. It doesn't mean you won't go back to people or situations or places or things. It's just that right now, the whole planet is in healing. So when we're in healing, it's really hard to heal in a place that hurts you. So if you, have a family that says certain things or throws you off your game, or, whatever, or you feel thrown off your game, let's just put it that way. I don't want to take your power away. It's different for all of us. But I do feel like you, beautiful Pile One, I do feel like this is like the holiday season that you say, you know what, I don't want to celebrate that anymore. Like, I don't want to see Uncle whoever getting drunk, I don't want to feel, this pressure from that family member. I just don't want to deal with them. It took me going to 2 weddings 2 years in a row with my family that I was like, yeah, I need a huge break from my family for like a long time. I hope not forever, but I was just like, we're so different, and I'm so tired of trying to. And I feel like they don't even know me because they only get bits and pieces of the real me, and then I feel like I would like fall into this character of who they wanted me to play. And I'd also changed my name, and so they were calling me a name that I didn't really resonate with anymore. We're allowed to change and grow and evolve, and Spirit saying it's time for you to stand up for yourself and speak your truth. Step out of your comfort zone, research the North Node so you can understand fully what that means and that symbol on the card. Work with the Scorpio energy, even though we're in the full moon in Gemini. You may be a Scorpio, you may be dealing with a Scorpio. This may be a broad statement. This may be just directed towards one person, one situation. It's whatever pinged for you. It's your intuition. But just know that the outcome is that if you stay mutable and realize that nothing is set in stone and that you can change the program at any time, that's when you're going to feel happy and joyful, because you're going to feel empowered again. You're going to feel like yourself again. And sometimes it's like people just like, they're like, I'm just going to go just because it's easier. Is it easier though? Because then it takes you, and then the flip side of that is Spirit's like, or go, right? This has always been the other thing, right? Because this is the free will, or go. And then maybe this is your opportunity and your chance, if you feel strong enough, to use your throat chakra. If you're feeling good and you're feeling positive, to say to a certain family member, you know what, I don't really feel comfortable talking about that. Or, can we talk about something else? Or, whatever. Or you just go for a little while until you feel uncomfortable and you leave. And then that's what they get. Even if it's 20 minutes, they're saying it doesn't matter. Maybe you're stopping by to bring something to eat, and you let them know, I'm an empath. I'm sensitive to energy. All this noise and music, it's too much for me. I'm sorry. I love all of you, but I must go. We are not here to please everybody else. We are here to help each other along the way, but we are not here to live our lives for other people. Not our parents, not our dog, not our significant other, not our friends, not our coworkers, not our boss. You know what I mean? Like, this is our own personal journey. And I'm actually really glad that Spirit has been pushing me more to like put this into I've only ever really wanted a pick a pile channel or something like this, because I feel like there's so many of us and we all have different things that are going on, different things that are happening. Then sometimes we just need the breadcrumbs. I watch readings too. I have my own people too, right? That like, I'm like, oh, thank you for that aha moment. Thank you for that wisdom. And maybe that family member does that for you, and that's awesome. But they're just saying, or maybe you're going for that family member that does that for you, but they're saying, just remember, you're allowed to say no, and you are allowed to set boundaries. So do with that information as you will, my beautiful souls. Blessed full moon in Gemini. Winter solstice is right around the corner, which is also the beginning of Yule. I can't wait. And one more thing, Spirit wants us to remember that as we are getting closer to solstice, it's getting darker, 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 right? Now, of course, for those of you in the southern hemisphere, you're going into summer solstice, right? And it's getting brighter and brighter and brighter. But for those of you who are in the northern hemisphere, keep that kind of stuff in mind. And even with the summer solstice, just because it's sunny outside and warm doesn't mean that you're having a good time, And some of us who have sad seasonal affective disorder, that's a real thing. Most likely you're an empath if you are quote unquote suffering from that. But the only suffering is yourself. Find ways to make it happy for yourself. I don't care if you have to get a sun lamp, light more candles, do things that make you happy, watch shows that, are showing beachy scenes, and go, steam up your bathroom, and feel like you're in the, put on some beach music. There's ways to help ourselves. Don't wallow in the darkness and the depression. Okay. Those are all of your messages that I have for you today, Pile One. I love you so much. All of my information is in the description box below, and I'll see you next time. Blessed be. Oh, bye. Pile number 2, my flitty fairies. Oh, as I was like sinking into your energy, I felt a lot of different things. But one of the things I got was from the old, I forget, the Gulliver's Travels, where the one character would say, "We're doomed, I just know it." And Spirit's saying, that's the energy that I'm feeling from you guys. But the flip side of that is when I saw your card and I saw expect powerful change, new moon eclipse, I'm like, that's awesome. I got this energy that somehow you guys are still stuck in this eclipse energy that we just had. Whenever you watch this, it's timeless, of course, but today, right now, in real time, is December 18th, 2021, and it was the full moon in Gemini and in December. And I'm just feeling like this kind of woe is me, but at the same time, I feel like normally, quote unquote, as you guys maybe would say, but this languaging I'm feeling is that normally you're the type of person that's like, everything's going to be fine. Everything's going to be fine. Everything's going to be fine. However, in the last few years, you're everything's going to be fine. Fairy, being the cheerleader, awesome, happy for everybody that was always going over the meter, that people would call you, reach out to you. People just want to be around you. You're just so awesome. You just have this like awesome energy, this beautiful energy. But you've been going through a lot of shadow work and a lot of dark night of the soul. And I'm feeling this really heavy energy from you guys that you still have not shed from this eclipse season. We just had our last eclipse, which was on the new moon in Sagittarius on December 4th. We just had the new moon in Sagittarius, but it was a solar eclipse. It wasn't a lunar eclipse, even though we're talking about the moon today. And we're using the Moonology deck. I just got this really strong vibe from you guys that like this, it's just really brought you down. You're not your chipper self. You're not your, whatever. And Spirit is saying, but that is your muggle mind that's telling you that it just keeps going down, right? So it feels like, what the fuck? When is anything going to change? But they're like, but look at this. Look at this. Do you see this tiny little glimmer of hope? That's you. And there's this really great YouTuber. I'll see if I remember, I'll put it. If I don't and you're interested, then just send me a little just say on the bottom, hey, did you have that person you wanted us to see? But I think it's called Attract Passion. I recently got turned on to them, and I was telling my husband about them, and he's like, oh, I love that guy, the guy who paints and like talks spirit. And I'm like, yeah. He's like, oh, I love that guy. Oh my gosh, that guy has been, I mean, literally he's an angel put on earth, because how he's staying in the high vibration is anyone's guess. However, but he's doing his passion, right? He's painting, he's doing what he loves. And so I'm getting from Spirit that it's time to do what you love. You've been in the darkness long enough. You are at the end of it. You do not have to keep, whipping yourself, right? This isn't like this beating yourself down, beating yourself up, judgment for yourself and others. Are like, that's not you. They're like, find that little glimmer of hope, because what the Attract Passion individual had posted that I just saw today, and I wasn't even looking for it. It was just like there, right? Like right in my face. It was like the first thing I saw. And they said something to the effect of, just remember that, ooh, my throat chakra too. Work with your throat chakra and speak your truth. This is the second time it came through in Pile 1 too. So if you're connected to Pile 1, I'd go back and watch that as well. But they said something powerful, which was, remember that right now only 1% of the world is woke, is awake. So think about that for a second. We're in the 1%. Now, what we have been educated through social media and television and news, fake news and all that other kind of stuff, is that, if you're in the 1%, you're the elite, you're the, but it used to be that. But now it's turned into, if you're the 1%, it's kind of like you're the jerks that are ruining the world, that don't care what happened to us. Well, Spirit said, think about that though. Look at how much power the 1% has driven this planet over, like, centuries and centuries, lineages and lineages of keeping the earth repressed, conquering, going across different, going across the seas, right? To conquer. Spirit is saying, but what if we turn that power around? Thank you, Spirit. I'm getting this message as well. This is why I love doing pick-a piles. Right? And because it is exactly that. It's like we are the 1% that are going to illuminate the planet. And it's kind of like, if everyone will take flight on this virus, right? Like this thing that keeps going around that they're trying to tote. I said to my husband yesterday, I go, don't you think it's interesting that they're making it like if you don't get inoculated, like that you are the devil, yet people who are inoculated are saying that they're still getting sick. I saw something where Billie Eilish said, like, if I wasn't, I'd probably would have died. But she doesn't know that. It's like, it's programming and it makes me really angry. But I know that it just is where everybody is right now. And it's okay if you got it. I'm not judging you. I'm just saying that, I think it's interesting now that they're like, everybody has to get the booster, blah, blah, blah. It's like, who do you think is manufacturing these, what do you think is, you know what I mean? The pharmaceutical companies. People were starting to get more healthy and were pulling away from the gross foods, and they were starting to like, what is in my food? What is that? I'm not eating that shit, or I don't want to eat animals anymore. So they have to find a way to keep their money going. And that's why you're going to see a lot of faux spiritual stuff. So they're saying right now it's very confusing. So my beautiful fairy pile, you're like the light workers, the angels, and fairies come in all shapes and sizes, right? It's like I'm saying fairy is like an energy. It's just an energy of like light and love, and there's dark fairies too, right? But in this energy for you guys, I just feel this very white light angel fairy that they're like, you need to stay in that because that's who you are. Yes, work with your shit, but then like pull yourself back up. And if you are feeling like you are depleted, it's because the people, the situations, your job, like everything has to change. That's why they're saying expect powerful change. Because even if you make one tiny little change to your life, to your diet, to your community, to your social circle, anything like that, if you start really genuinely picking out the energies, I hate to say people, and I don't like to use the word hate either, but right, but once you start doing that, when I looked down, it was number 13, which is was 31, I should say, which is 13 backwards, right? That's really powerful too. And it's also the number 4, which is about grounding and stability. It's okay for you to be that flitty fairy, but what I started to realize is that my quote unquote friends weren't really my friends. There were so many people who just wanted me for something, whether it was reading for them or it was to listen to their stuff, whatever. And then when I wanted to talk, they didn't have time for me. And I started to notice this in a lot of my friends and my family, and patterns and situations. And it just was like, I'm like, why am I putting so much energy into other people's lives and their situations, and also, I started to realize when I didn't put myself in a situation, they would come back to me and say, oh, you know what, so and so ended up helping me out anyway, like 5 minutes after I talked to you. And or like those people that they would ask me for help, and then I would rearrange my whole schedule, and then I would like call them, or I would go to their house, and they'd be like, oh gosh, dude, I'm so sorry, so and so helped me, blah blah blah, I totally forgot to call you, I totally forgot. And I'm like, I'm the one person that was coming to help you. How could I not be the first person that you would call and say, hey, did you cancel that thing yet? Did you? And I was like, you know what? It's one thing to love people for who they are, but there's another to be like walked on like a doormat, and you're not a doormat. And it's interesting because I felt like a pick a card, a pick a pile, a pick a card, a pick a pile, and Spirit was just like, just go. And so the last pile was a pile, but I'm getting from Spirit, this is it. This is all the message that they wanted to say to you, pile 2, because it's all up to you. It's all in your hands, and you have more power than you could possibly imagine. So from now until the next eclipse season, it's kind of like, Spirit's challenging you to really dig deep. And if you have somebody who just gives you the willies, or you feel exhausted after you've spent time with them, I don't care who it is or what it is, even if it's your children, then you limit your interaction with them. You ask for help, because we are all on our own thing here. And even parents think, oh, well, that's my child, I have to be there. It's like, yes, but that's why we have communities. That's why we have hey, can you come help me? Hey, can you, blah, blah, blah. I just need 10 minutes. I just need to go, even if you're just going to go scream or cry or walk around the block for 20 minutes. If you're a new parent, right? And you're like, hey, this was a really easy baby, but now all of a sudden my toddler won't stop doing this, or they're blah, 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 or they're screaming, or they're like, no, like they learn, because some children right now, it's like they're learning so fast. This is a completely different energy field. And when the new souls come in, they just sense it, and they know it goes with animals too. So I'm just putting it out there. There's a massive change happening on the planet. So just expect powerful change to happen, and it will. This is all about your mindset. And I've been doing the same thing when darkness creeps in, when I've been trying to talk to spirit about the difference between gossip and sometimes we just need to talk and get it out. And spirit saying that's okay. But we need to ask ourselves, is it gossip or is it getting it out? I had an example. I was in the grocery store recently and I was minding my own business, doing my own thing. And I heard these two women having a conversation. I wasn't looking at them. I didn't know who was who or what was what. But then it started to occur to me that the one person worked there and the other person was just shopping. And I thought, my God, this woman was going on this tirade about her sister and how her sister raises her kids and just how, she doesn't give her kids candy and, blah, blah, blah. And, it was just interesting. I had a lot of things recently where things have been put in my face where I'm like, wow, that's a serious judgment against somebody. And it made me look at myself too, right? It's that mirror that I needed to see. And I was like, are we helping people or are we hurting people? It's like, here she is talking smack saying, oh, my sister never gives her kids candy. So for Christmas, I give them little stockings full of tons of, treats and candy and stuff. And I blah, blah, blah with my sister. And I thought to myself, that's so weird. Like, why would you do that? Why don't, like, if your sister's raising her kids with no sugar and whatever, but you're doing that. And I just thought to myself, what is like, why? You know what I mean? Like, and she was just like saying, like, basically their sister was, abusing her children. And I thought, oh my gosh, those kids will be able to choose what they want at some point. And maybe they do cheat with a snack at school or something, who knows? Or maybe they're homeschooled. I have no idea, right? But all I thought to myself was, you're talking so much smack on your sister to this person at the grocery store. And then I started to realize, you know what? I was doing that in some of my real talks and that. I thought I was just like talking to, to the tribe, right? And talking about things. And then I started to realize, what is gossip and what is productive? Meaning, like, that's gossip. That's her thoughts, right? I mean, I'm just saying, I don't know, it's a label, right? It's just a word. But in the terminology I got from spirit, that's like kind of gossip, like, and judgment at the same time. Instead of respecting that person's boundaries and letting them decide what they want, right? However, talking about somebody in a sense where you are a bunch of family or friends or community, and there's someone in your group that has completely changed their personality and you're concerned about them, that's different. If you're like, hey, can we talk? Have you guys noticed anything? Or is it just me? Should we intervene? What do you think we should do? Should we pray on it? Should we meditate on that? What should we do? Because sometimes that person, it's like, yes, they have the free will to kill themselves, right? But there's been many times that if somebody hadn't stepped in and spoke to me, I'd be dead. I would have been dead at least, I think 7 times I counted. The last time I counted was like 7 times I would have been dead if somebody hadn't just stepped in or helped me out or whatever and helped me to see the world, who just gave me this little glimmer of light, this little glimmer of hope. And that's what you guys are here to do, is to give that little glimmer of hope. And when you don't have the glimmer, that's when you reach to others. Maybe it's a reading, maybe it's a friend. I'm saying reading because I'm saying, like, for me, it does, because I don't have a lot of, really close friends anymore. And I do have some friends, but we're all going through stuff and I try to respect that. But when I really need somebody, I reach out to my community. But other times I reach out to spirit this way, like I know my messages are there. I meditate on it. And sometimes I just meditate on it for days and the message comes to me. It's different for all of us. Again, no judgment. But there's something going on here and I feel like you're unbalanced, right? Because of these little things. So believe that the powerful change has already happened to you. Believe that that all of these things are happening for you and not to you, so that you can move forward knowing that like you did the best you could with what you have. And the truth is, everybody right now is at their own level of consciousness. We're all working from that point. And so because of that, Spirit is saying, this is where we need to love more unconditionally than we've ever loved before. This means that we, hold space for ourselves first. The message I keep getting for 2022 is self-care. That is how we heal, by healing ourselves. We were programmed to believe differently, but it's time for us to change. It's a new year. It's, till the next eclipse season in the spring. Right now we're at the last few moments of fall. Don't forget that as well, right? Or the last few moments of spring, depending on where you live, right? So things are about to turn. Hold on for just one more day. You got this. All right, you guys, I love you so much. I hope this helped you in any way. All of my information is in the description box below, and I'll see you next time. Blessed be. Aho. Bye. Welcome, pile number 3. Oh, I just got the sweetest vibe. Like, I was putting this together. This is the third pile. So I had it differently before. It was down like that. So this is your card. What do you need to release? The waning moon. But when I started putting this together for you guys, I felt like snow. Even I think your rock was like this, but on this side, it has like more white on it. It kind of looks like dirty snow, actually, right? Like after a tire like drove through it. Perfectionism. Oh, okay. I see. But what I heard was, let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. So I'm feeling a very beautiful, loving energy from your pile. And for some of you, it's also the waning moon. I asked Spirit if we were going to bring the book out, because I always like to explain the moon phases to people. But they said no. They want you to look that up yourself. But the waning energy is, let me see. Hold on 1 second. By the way, when I paused it, it was at 41, and 4 and 1 is 5, and 5s are all about change and transformation. So I love that this says, what do you need to release? And you're the first pile that really brought it up close. So they do want you to research more on the waning moon, but what I am going to share with you is I have this beautiful moon phases calendar that one of our tribe members gave us, and it has all these different kind of like emotional energies around the moon. And so when we are in the waning gibbous, it's in reflect and release, and when we're in the waning crescent, it's rest and restore. So whenever you watch this, it's timeless. But right now we are in the full moon and Gemini energy, and it is in the celebration and blessings phase. But the next phase is the waning gibbous, which is the reflect and release. So I'm going to see if I can get that down there so you guys can see it. Can you see it? Hold on. Reflect and release. Do you see it here? So I think it's really interesting that's probably why they, said, no, you don't need to, because you got this right here as well. But I just love that, right? I mean, the synchronicities. And they're saying, why? I feel like, oh my gosh, look at you guys. I love when they do this. I did not even pay attention at all. I just did I always do what they tell me to do. But look at how the card goes from the snow, like onto here. Right? And how the snow is going onto my little frosted candle holder, frosted glass. So this is, even if you do live in the Southern Hemisphere, it's like, it's time for you to go inward. This is like a really, I feel like this winter cycle is going to be really interesting, because 2021 was a rough year. It was a number 5, just like your 41, right? Change and transformation. So we need to release that shit. We need to let it go. In the full moon, everything's lit up. It's illuminated. We get to see exactly what everything is, right? It's interesting though, because in this, I believe this is the waning crescent, because when I looked at the pictures, even though the waning gibbous is after this full moon, it's reflect and release. Then we're going to go into the third quarter moon, which is transition and forgiveness. And then we're going into the waning crescent, and the waning crescent is this imagery, which is the rest and restore. So I have this feeling until the new moon in January, new moon in Capricorn, which will be in January. I don't have my other calendar with me right now, so you have to look it up yourself. I actually just realized I didn't do my calendar stuff for January yet. But it doesn't matter. During this, so right now, while this is illuminated, or I should say whatever information like is, pinging for you, whatever illuminated for you, so to speak, right? Whatever illuminated for you during this reading right now is what you need to release. If you felt anything, it could be multiple things. But I'm feeling like this winter, it's time for you to really go inward. And if you don't have snow, go somewhere that does. The other day, my sweetheart and I, we drove up into the mountains. We just wanted mountain energy. And we were so excited to see so much snow on the ground where we could still drive, without chains and stuff. And I was like, oh, it snowed here. And it was just like, I mean, I just loved hearing like my feet running through the forest, just chomp, chomp, chomp through the snow. It was just so glorious. And I made a snowball and threw it at the car. Like when he was in the car, I was like trying to get his attention and I couldn't. I threw a snowball. I was like, let's throw a snowball. You know what I mean? Like, and just get out there and have fun. So I feel like some of you guys are like, they're like, stop, you need to release, let go, let go, let go, let go of control. If any of these other piles called to you as well, I highly recommend you go and watch them. But control is a man-made emotion. It's a fear-based emotion that was instilled in us a long time ago through centuries, centuries. I mean, even just in the last few decades, you can just see how the pressure was put upon us since World War II, to be this like perfect world and everybody should have a job and like, but if you're a square peg trying to fit into a round hole, let it go. Release that. You are a beautiful fucking unicorn and you should be able to do whatever you want to do. And you know what's interesting is this is a beautiful friend of mine and her name is Precious Golden Rainbow. Look she's a little puppet. She's like, chomp, chomp, chomp. Here, you know what? Let me see if I can pull her out. Because I feel like she wants to come by and say hi. And actually, she wants to go on this hand because she wants to show you her pretty brooch. She's like, look at my brooch. So I can't get in there too much, right? Because of where I am. But I mean, I'm 50 years old and I like to play with puppets. You want to know why? Because puppets are fun. And I've been, thinking about putting together some children's stuff. And I realized, I was like, you know what? The more I got these toys and played with them, the more I felt like myself. And like little voices started to come in and, so like have fun. Who cares? Release any type of, thoughts that you feel like you should be, or, maybe, I was watching something recently where they were talking about, isn't it sad how we were programmed to believe like grow up, don't play with this anymore, or stop being a child, or blah blah blah. And they're like, no, you're not being a child because you're an artist, or because you could be a surgeon who's silly and goofy. That's why they have children surgeons. You know what I mean? It's like that that I forget that Robin Williams film where he like dresses up and wears a clown nose and all that, like to keep, because he works with sick kids. It's like it takes a very special human being, a special soul living as a human being to do something like that. So they're saying like channel your energy. Like, what do you want to do? Stop doing what you think you're supposed to do and do what you want to do. That is the biggest message that I'm getting from Spirit. Oh my gosh. And so, and work with those energies. Work with those energies. And if you need to, pause it right now and go get a pen and paper. Okay. So now you're back, right? So I want you to remember from now, from the full moon, or even when you watch this until the next new moon, it doesn't matter, right? But just these are the things that Spirit wants you to concentrate on. Reflect and release in the waning gibbous. You can write that down or not, but the thing that's important is the energy. You need to reflect and release, transition and forgive, then rest and restore. Because they're saying it doesn't matter about, the waning moon was more just like, it was about, the waning was about giving you this energy up until the new moon, right? But it's about reflect and release, transition and forgiveness, rest and restore, so that you can have a new beginning in the new moon. that's it. They're not having me pull any more cards for you guys, so I'm going to leave it right there. I hope this helped you. I love you so much. All of my information is in the description box below, and I'll see you next time. Blessed be. Oh, bye. Welcome, pile number 4. Oh, I'm going to zoom in a little bit on this because it's just too awesome. Check this out. So if you chose pile number 4, you were drawn to graphite. And graphite is literally like what they use in pencils. Like I could pick up that rock right now and draw with it. Your homework is to research graphite and work with that energy. If it is in your financial means to do so, I highly suggest that you get yourself a chunk of graphite. It's not very expensive, but it's really powerful. So I love that your pile. So, which is so interesting because a car just went by, and I live on a dead end road, so it's not like I hear it all the time. So that was interesting. We've had some car stuff going on in some of the other piles too, so they've been really great analogies. So I think it's interesting that the car went by really fast, but that like they wanted me to explain that to you. That is what's going on. You're moving too fast. It's time to slow down. It's time to hold your vision. There are times when it's good to be fixed in a fixed moon, and there are times when it's not in the energy field for you to be in a fixed moon. This is a time where spirit wants you to hold your vision as strong as that mountain, as strong as that graphite. But it is fixed, right? So it's like it's also interesting that they're actually bringing me to the terminology of the word fixed. Like, you don't need to do anything anymore. You can't fix whatever is happening. You can't change what has happened in the past. Your greatest gift is free will. So Spirit would urge you to, instead of fixating on things that you cannot change, to hold your vision for what it is you want and who you are, but release over this full moon. Whenever you watch this, it's timeless, of course, but in this energy, we are working with the full moon in Gemini, and they're saying it's time for you to release and let go of that energy, because whatever it is, we all get our own information, right? So whatever pings for you, this is a mass reading, but whatever it is that's holding you back from this vision or stopping you, that has you in a fixed energy, like in the palm of their hand, is not working for you. For some of you, they're saying this is a specific person. There are so many different, like boss, lover, parent, family, like, you know what I mean? Friends, that it's like, it's going to be different for all of you guys. But there is somebody I'm literally feeling like they have you in the palm of their hand, working you like a marionette puppet. Spirit showing me literally like a marionette puppet. And they're saying you are as strong as a mountain. And the irony is, people who are strong don't use, manipulate, abuse, or utilize their gifts to control others. Some people do, and some people don't. And control is so real. And if you were drawn to any of these other piles, seriously, I highly recommend you go and look at them, because that is the one thing I'm getting from Spirit right now, is control is literally an illusion. And because people are waking up and they're starting to recognize and understand their power, some people are, their power is unbalanced, and they're like, wow, look at me, I can control blah blah blah. But then other people are like, whoa, I can't control it anymore. I don't know what to do. Like, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. They're like, I don't know what to do. And Spirit's like, well, do nothing. When you don't know what to do, do nothing. And hold your vision of hope, love, joy. There's so much power in this card. I can't even tell you. And I've seen this card so many times. I'm going to back it up a little because I want you to see the moon. It's a fixed moon. I'm going to look at my book right now. So if I had to guess by the picture in this book, I would say that would be not quite, it's like somewhere between, I'll just say the actions and not the moon cycles. How's that? So this is somewhere between taking action and refining and focus. So maybe the fix for some of you is that you need to hold tight for a minute, you know, before you go off and make some half-cocked decision, right? Also, it's interesting. I tried to straighten this out, and it almost looks like it's like mountains, and almost feels like this energy, like it looks like a shadow's going like up to the mountain. Wherever spirit has me do stuff, my creative mind, my artist mind always goes to that. But do you see what I'm saying? It's like you are surrounded by mountains. Like spirit has your back. You are not alone. You are not alone. You will never ever be alone. You know, even when we ask spirit for space, they give us space, right? But there's always at least one energy that's like constantly making sure that everything is okay. Because we signed soul contracts before we came over here, and because we have free will, you know, it's like when someone is feeling suicidal, I've been there many times myself. I just spoke about that in another reading. You know, when you're in that energy, or when you're angry, or when you're, you know, it's like, it just feels like the whole world is going to fall apart. Like you're just like, if I just do this right now, if I just, so take this razor blade and, you know, blah, blah, blah. It's like, whoa, 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 what a graphic, monstrous, awful thing to do to your beautiful human vessel and to your soul that worked so hard to get you to that point. I am not saying that people, you know, people do what they got to do. I don't judge it at all. You know, I don't think someone's a quitter because they're like, I'm out. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know what their lives were before this or whatever. And they may have just hit a point where they're like, seriously, I'm out. I'll do this again. Like, I'm out, you know? So I'm like, more power to you. I love you, man. You know, send you on your way. I'm not promoting suicide in any way. What I'm trying to say to you is that I don't judge it. When people are like, they're so selfish or they're so mean, why would they do that? It's like, who knows why they did it? That's the whole point. Nobody was talking. We need to talk about these things. We need to talk about what's hurting us. We need to say, I'm holding on for dear life here, but I have literally tied every knot, and now the last knot is fraying and I'm about to fall through. And that's when spirit's saying, good, because sometimes we have to go through an emotional death. You know what